seen some deer. Haven't seen any bugs. Maybe on our way down. hours. It's about 12:30. We're gonna have some lunch. We're just down to spots of blood here and there. He zigzagged his way up this hill, which is not a good thing. You can see these sticks that I put up following the trail. He went down. He was down over that way, over there. So he's not looking like he's hurt too bad. I never did find my arrow. It doesn't mean it's not back there where I shot, but I haven't seen it. So we'll keep on. Yeah, we're down to drops of blood like that. Well, we just came over the top of the mountain. And he made it down here into this rhododendron hill, and the blood ran out. Well, I thought I'd give it one more try to find it, try to find that deer. No luck. It's been raining for this last week. Even if there was blood, it'd probably be washed away. I wasn't seeing anything. Looking on my way out. Maybe we'll get lucky. When I saw this buck, I had just gotten up to the kill zone. I just looked to my right, and just like always, this buck just appeared out of nowhere. I looked up and over to my right, and he's standing there looking at me. And I ranged him, and he was at 76 yards. I kept looking at him through my rangefinder, which has a 3 power on it, and he didn't look, at first he didn't look very big because he's not real wide, and I was debating on whether he was a shooter or not. And I looked at him a couple of times, and at that distance, even with the 3 power, it's kind of hard to tell, especially if he doesn't turn his head. You can't really see what he looks like. All you get is the frontal view. And I finally decided that I was going to shoot him. And so I put my camera away in my pocket. I knocked an arrow, and when I looked up, he was gone. And so I got the camera back out because I thought I might catch him going away. Well, what he actually did was he started coming closer to me. You know, those bucks this time of year, sometimes they do stupid things. It's about the only time of year they do. And so when he did stop, he stopped at 54 yards. And you'll see in the video where he stopped. And he stopped right at the edge of that tree. And I didn't have time to get my action camera going, which at that distance you wouldn't have been able to see the shot anyways. You might have been able to see the deer maybe. But anyways, so I had to put the camera away, put it in my pocket to take the shot. So by the time I took the shot, he had seen me for a while and he was getting a little nervous. And what had happened, as soon as I started to squeeze the trigger, I could see him in my pin. I could see him start moving, and it was too late. I was already committed. I was already squeezing, and the arrow was already away. So by the time the arrow got to him, he went from facing this way to swinging all the way around to take off, and he was about broadside when my arrow got there. So my arrow was right where his rear end was at, and it hit him somewhere if I had to guess, in the rear end there. I just clipped him. As you'll see in the video, I did find a blood trail. There's very little blood. It didn't last very long. And I looked for him every time I was up there. Looking for blood, looking for sign, listening for birds or predators that might have got a hold of it if it was dead. I'll be happy to report that yesterday was the last day of the season, and I saw him again yesterday. I almost got a shot at him again. I had him at 81 yards. He was with some does, and I usually go around the right-hand side of this hill, and I decided to go around the left-hand side. And the reason why I avoid that left-hand side is because there's a thick patch kind of on this bench, and there's poison oak and stuff in there, and it's really thick. And it's just a patch of it. And right on the edge of the patch is a ravine that goes down like this. So I went up through there, and instead of going to the outside, there's a deer trail over here. I went to the right, which was a mistake. Well, I thought at the time, because it's super thick in there, and I'm crawling over logs and all kinds of stuff, being really noisy. When I got up through there where it starts to climb again, I got just up above this patch where it's nice and open, and I just happened to look back behind me, and I caught some movement, and it's a doe running kind of towards me. I'm up here, it's coming up here, and then I see another one, and I'm looking through my rangefinder, and I could see another body standing broadside back in the trees, and almost immediately I knew it was a buck. You can usually tell if those mature bucks, their bodies are much bigger. I was like, I'll bet that's a buck. So I kept watching and kept watching, and pretty soon it kind of moved towards me too, and I could see it was a buck. It was a big buck, and I don't know if it was because of the way I was above him this time, and the way the sunlight was hitting his antlers. He's a lot bigger than I thought he was before. But it looked like a big 3-point. It looked exactly, when he first looked at me, I could see the frontal view, and I was like, holy cow, there's that buck that I hit. I finally did get to see him again, so he's not dead. He's okay. He's chasing does around. I didn't see, for just a little period of time that I could see him, I couldn't see any wounds on him or any blood or anything like that, so I think I just grazed him. But at any rate, he's still alive, still cooking, so I was glad to see that. I was really hoping I could get a shot. It was the last day. I thought I might get a buck on the very last day, but it didn't work out. They were coming this way. Looked like they were going to continue. I had them. There's a ravine over here, and it splits up 3 different ways where it gets really steep again. And I got to the point where there's kind of a little funnel at the bottom where if they went through there, I might be able to see them. Well, just like they always do, they just disappeared. I never seen them again. I have no idea which way they went. I spent all day chasing them and never seen them again. So there's one more thing I'd like to add that I forgot to put in there when I was telling you about that buck that I shot. The reason why he came towards me when I saw him is because he was all rutted up. What I found out after I shot and I went up there to find my arrow, look for some blood, see what it looked like. I went just a little ways, and I had a doe all of a sudden just come running at me, just up above me. And you'll see it in the video. I did get that one on my action cam. It's not super clear, but you can see her. She got directly up above me and stopped. She was acting funny, and then she milled around a little bit, and then she went up the hill. Well, it wasn't probably 5-10 seconds after that, I looked to my right again, and I see some antlers coming over the little hill there in front of me, and it was another big buck. Well, what had happened was there was a doe in heat, and these 2 bucks, including the one that I shot and this other one, were chasing her like crazy, like they usually do. And this other big 4-point you'll see on the video, and he's really big. He's nice. He came right out in front of me, and I really wish that I would have missed that deer that I shot at cleanly. Well, for 2 reasons. One of the reasons is I had that deer at 40 yards more than once, standing broadside right up above me, and he had no idea I was there. So we wouldn't have had time to react to an arrow shot or anything like that, and it was only a 40-yard shot. It would have been a slam dunk, and he was really nice. But and I known I would have hit him, and I wouldn't have been worried about blood trailing like that other one, and where I'd hit him, and whether or not I was going to find it, and going for 3 weeks without knowing what had happened to that deer that I hit. So I wish I would have missed cleanly, and I wouldn't have been able to shoot that other one just for that reason. But you could see That other one on camera, the 4-point, he's really big. Both of them are really, really nice bucks. What had happened was the deer, after I shot it, it went over to where the other two deer were at, the doe and the other buck, and it went straight up the hill. And I didn't find that out till later in the afternoon, after I did a little blood trailing, and I ended up following it all the way up the hill, and it got to the point where there might have been a drop of blood every 20 yards or so. But you'll see those other deer on the video there. They eventually, that big 4-point, he came out in front of me 3 different times. He went up and out and around and went back and up and around, and he was running around. He was bird dogging this doe. He wasn't quite sure where she went, and he had his nose to the ground just like a bird dog, and he was looking all over for her. And eventually he figured out she went uphill, and they went up there, and I could see 3 bodies. I thought I'd see 3 bodies up there, and I could just see pieces of them through the trees. They were so high. And that buck that I had shot was one of them, which I found out later. I just still didn't know how bad he was hurt or if he was hurt. But that's where they went, and they made their way up over there and over the top of the mountain. I found out eventually, but that's why that deer came closer to me. He's all rutted up, and why the other one in the video is running around out in front of me. It's because if you can find a doe that's rutted up that time of year, which is what you're looking for, it's going to be a buck fest. The minimum I've ever seen on one where there's a doe in heat is 2 bucks. I've seen as many as 5 mature bucks in an area when you get a doe that's in heat. It's crazy if you can find one. So obviously that one didn't get bred the first cycle in November when the main rut is. And then next month rolls around, and that's what you're hoping for, is that you find one that didn't get bred and a doe comes into her cycle, and then it just brings the bucks in like crazy. So that was it. I just wanted to add that.
This is why I call this area the kill zone. I see an arrow. It's mine, but it's not the one I shot yesterday. It's the second arrow that I shot at that buck. Would have been, 3 years ago now. If you watch any of the videos when I'm in my garage, it's the big 4-point buck on the wall on the far right. It's the one I hit in the neck, and I took a second shot at him, and my arrow ended up right here where I shot at the buck yesterday. I'll show it to you. It's right there. Let's go get it. I knew right away this was from a different shot because of the color of knock. My elk arrows have these white knocks on them, or used to. My deer arrows have green knocks on them. And there is the grizzly broadhead. And you can tell it's a bit faded on the end here from the sun. Sitting out here for 3 years. Let's see if we can find the one that I shot yesterday. this looks like a good place to stop and have some lunch. I chased that buck over here. When I got up to the top, when I got up on the hill there, right about the same area where the bucks went up the hill 3 days ago when I shot at the one. And I had the second buck on film. Right about there, I caught a little bit of movement out of my eye, off in the sun, over to my right. This is my left, but it's over here to my right, and I was heading up the hill. And it's a long ways off. It's probably 150 yards. And I thought it might have just been a bird flying by. And I looked at it with my rangefinder, and I couldn't see anything. So I looked again, and I could see something white. And all these bucks, they got some white on them. They got some white right here, throat badge. And I kept looking through the rangefinder. I leaned up against a tree and got a steadier hold. And I could tell it was a deer, and it was looking right at me, and I could tell it was a big buck. And all I could see was from like the neck up. He was coming up the hill, and where I could see him, he was just kind of looking over the hill, and he saw me. He already had me busted. So I went after him, came over this direction. He got up, or I seen him turn around, and then he kind of disappeared. And before we went up over the next ridge, this drainage over here, I did see a deer go over. I don't know if it was him or it was another one, because when I got to the top of the drainage over here, I did spot another doe over here bedded down under a tree, and she already had me busted as well. And then I could hear a deer down below me, way down in there, moving around in the leaves. If I had to guess, that was probably the buck, because the one up here was the doe. So she took off, and then I continued this way, and I haven't seen anything since. This is as far as I'm going to go. From here on, it's nasty everywhere up here, but it's just cliffs and manzanita and rhododendrons after this. Just keep going that direction. But it was a big buck. I'm pretty sure it was one of the bucks I saw 3 days ago. I'm really wishing I would have brought my rattling antlers. I could have maybe rattled that one in. Maybe we'll have to try that next time we come up here. Stay tuned. Use my silhouette up here. I only painted it on one side. Haven't seen anything. did find another rock. It looks like it's got some more of that paint on it. So at one time it looked like there might have been more pictographs here. Got it right there. That's awesome. I've walked past this spot at least half a dozen times over the years, just down the hill here. I've seen deer. Shot at a nice buck a couple of times down here. I finally decided to come up here today. It kind of looked like there was a cave. I'm glad I did. It's pretty cool. That cave. I can walk up to it right there. There's some pack rats living in here. The floor is just covered in pack rat crap. Yeah. It stinks. It's pretty cool though. I don't see any signs of habitation. I don't see any pictographs or a fire pit. I don't see anything. But it's still pretty cool. Pretty killer view. No, my luck, I'll probably see a big old buck up here. And my bow's all the way down at the bottom by the other cave. Back up here, I'll give you a shot. Point it out. I head back down now. We'll see at the bottom. So I am going to sit here and have some lunch sitting on this here rock at this upper shelter. The other one's right down there. I'll sit right there on that rock where there's a very good possibility that some First Nations people have sat there and had a bite to eat while they were also up here bow hunting, which I find very fitting. So it just feels right. Now sometimes you'll find something that just tickles your fancy, I guess is the best way to put it. And today, finding this spot was it. Sitting here eating my lunch, just thinking about all the people that have possibly been up here hunting, bringing their children up here, you know, generation after generation. I've had my son up here and bow hunting with me, and it's just kind of neat to think about that. People have been up here for probably hundreds, thousands, maybe even thousands of years. Who knows? Up here doing the exact same thing. So it's kind of neat that we can still do the same thing in this day and age. The equipment I'm using is a little more modern, but the concept is still the same. I'm all done eating lunch, so we're going to keep on here. So stay tuned. Hopefully, by the way, I did see two does earlier on the way up here. I didn't have my camera on. They were bedded down, came to this ravine, and they were down in there, and they took off and started blowing at me, getting pretty near the top here, and I could see in a saddle up above me, I seen another one cross over from my right to my left. So I don't know if that was one of the same deer, or if that was a different one. So I did see a couple of deer today. So stay tuned, maybe we'll see some more. I saw that big old buck right over there. I was up there. Came through there. Up on top there, it's a lot thicker than it looks from over here. It must have been bedded down in there. See, this is another cave. I haven't never been up this draw before. Let's check it out. Whose idea was this?
That's the end of the season, and it was a good season. I don't have anything to complain about. I had my opportunity and I botched it. Well, I can't say I botched it, just unlucky. And look forward again to next year. Thanks.